Okay, here we go, folks. I'm just gonna start up some software. I'm gonna share the link to my Facebook platforms, and then we'll start up with a little bit of a recap, if you don't mind. Just give me 1 moment. I hope everybody had an excellent August. I know we're filling it up now, but I had a wonderful one, and I hope you did too. Alrighty. If the metal's a little too loud or anything, just let me know. Of course, chat should actually be working now, so hopefully we don't have any problems there. Very, very excited to see what's going to happen with Amos and Elbrindel here. We have a little bit of exposition to go. We're going to do some dialogue. Which way that dialogue goes, of course, all depends on the way the dice shakes out. We're going to get at least one major topic of the conversation in. And that should be extremely exciting. Almost finished wrapping up with my social media, folks. Just give me 1 moment. Quick writing session. Yeah, we're going to have an awesome time. Okay, and now we'll do that. So I'm just going to take my time here. We're going to go through a quick recap for those of us that weren't here for the first episode. Essentially what we did is we set up the story based on a prompt that Tash had sent in, and essentially it began with a distant piercing frog filling in the air and a quietude in a forest, and the birds even falling silent. We decided that our protagonist was going to be a landlocked pirate. That was an interesting role. And so essentially he's a fighter class. We'll get to the characterization in terms of the character sheets next time. I'll actually present them in a grid so that we can all have a look at them. But right now I don't want to focus too much on the stats side. I want to focus on the storytelling side a little bit more strongly initially. And then we, of course, Amos, as he was named, trundled through the woods, eventually finding a meadow. There he encountered a fallen elven woman. She had no actual wounds that were visible, even though she had first appeared like she had been down. Turns out her name was Elbrindel. There was a broken bow beside her. She is a rogue class. We actually rolled for that as well. They immediately sort of hooked up and made a quick an allyship of convenience, perhaps. Although they seemed to get along quite well. She revealed that she'd been shipwrecked here and had been here for about a month. Amos himself having been marooned here. We still don't know why. Eventually they sought the shoreline, and as they got there, which Elbrindel had constructed a sort of a makeshift shelter on the shoreline, they were confronted by a pack of coyotes, 3 coyotes as a matter of fact. After a quick combat, it got a little bit dicey there. There was a few minor wounds incurred upon our companions, but Elbrindel and Amos put them down with the weapons in hand, and that was essentially it. So they're headed towards the shelter, having dispatched their opponents, and that's where we left off last time. So we'll go from there, and I just want to make sure that everything is working for you guys. And if you have any questions or comments, or if the music's too loud, just let me know. Okay, here we go. It was done. Breathing heavily and raggedly, Amos and Elbrindel looked at one another, having survived their first battle together. Are you hurt? And we'll just quickly go back here. Yep, she had actually been damaged. She took some damage on her leg. Amos also took a little bit of a bite in the arm. Yes, but not too badly. She's sort of pressure flipping him back here. Retorted, giving a ride. Okay, so we both headed off in the direction of the camp, and as we described the camp, let's go back and show you that. She had a large lean-to constructed from driftwood and covered by thick slabs of loam and sod, topped off with dried palm fronds. And this rested against a clay embankment about 100 feet from the shoreline. So she's got a small fire pit there as well. So both headed off in the direction of her camp. The only noise, the ebb and flow of the waves breaking on small stones on the shoreline. Two crude chairs were present to cover, provided by the lean-to. And Amos immediately took a seat. Yeah, he's gonna say, you got anything you can use to lose? It's best to make this sooner before Elbrindel, let's just actually do a quick roll. I'm going to do a 50-50 percentile roll here to see if she actually does have anything. Of course, where there's survivors, shipwreck survivors, she may or may not have supplies, so I'm going to do a quick roll here. And we're going to say anything over 30 on this 100-sided roll, she will have the materials. So she does, 64. Elbrindel, thought for a moment. Her brow furrowed. I'm just going to quickly check the chat, too. Just make sure that we actually got that in place. Open the LitRPG group as well. No problem. Yeah, so essentially, there's no problem with that. She does have her brow furrowing, but she does have the ingredients, so we're going to move on that direction. She, too, proceeds and then reach over beside the scorched stones. Ringing the fire pit. Quickly, she withdrew a small canvas sack. Reaching one hand within, squinting, she focused on grabbing the right items. Let's get that. Yeah. Elbrindel pulled forth a bundle of rags and a bottle of clear liquid. I think you guys got Ross. The acrids and geez, I don't really know. Foul and bitter. Stench of the current alcohol in the bottle seems perhaps more dangerous. The wound itself. A little bit of humor there. At least the seasoned seafarer. Didn't figure you for a notice. Elbrindel's giving him the gears here. She's got a little bit of a sense of humor. Right between clenched teeth. As she beckoned for her materials back. Amos halted her and quickly began soaking a strip of cloth with the liquor. Then Missing. In vain. As he felt burning. Okay, not bad. Let's start here. We can see where that's going. Okay. If anybody's in the chat, just say hello, and I'll be sure to show you out. Okay. Elbrindel repeated this process, wrapping his soaked rags around her lower leg. However, she was stoic enough to not show any pain whatsoever. Tough one, eh? This one, particularly the heat from the alcohol beginning to feel penetrate the room. Tough enough. Okay, so now that they're seated and they've dealt with their wounds, we're going to talk about what they want to do next. So, in terms of a survival scenario, we're going to start populating an array. So, our Amos and Elbrindel 1. Let's see. 1. Going to look for firewood to settle in for the night. That's option 1. 2. Use the last hours of daylight to trek, we'll say it's northward, seeking the remains of the shipwreck. Of course, Elbrindel's almost certainly been there. 3, see if we have any suggestions there. I am not seeing it, but ready. Back. It turned out we gotta add to our music list here. Ran out a little bit early on me. If it's a little loud, I will turn it down. Try that. Alrighty. Yeah, so just leave me comments here on the YouTube stream. That's the best way to get a hold of me there. I'll be able to see your comments and react to them accordingly. Alright, so, use the last hours of daylight to trek northward, seeking the remains of the shipwreck. 3, I'm actually going to suggest that they work on the shelter. Perhaps including some makeshift alarms or traps on the periphery. Some, making it something a little more permanent. And one more. I'll wait for one moment to see if anybody has any suggestions they want to throw in there. And if not, we'll just do the roll and see which way it goes. Yeah, so it's a classic sort of situation, and we're going to have hopefully, a conversation between Amos and Elbrindel, and we'll see exactly where their stories may lie. Number 4. Yeah, I'm going to say that they actually might scour the tree line for, say, food, herbs, anything of use that they can stockpile. Cool. Alright, and we'll do the roll. Drum roll, please. 4. Yeah, so they're going to head back to the tree line. Hopefully that doesn't turn out poorly for them. We should likely stock up on some food, berries, herbs from the tree line here to properly treat ourselves and get something in our stomachs. I'm going to have Elbrindel say this, because I think she's a little more, of course, familiar with this island by now. Suggested. Amos agreed, wordlessly, taking just a moment to collect himself, shutting his eyes to the world, to gather strength. I mean, it's been a rough day here, so we're just going to keep working. And also, they should probably harvest those coyotes. And actually, I feel like that's what we're going to have Amos work on. One thing first, we should definitely skin and address those coyotes. Good news, and the pelts could come in useful. Amos thought out loud. Oh. Looks like we're both bursting with ideas today. Okay. Together the two set about their task. Using their blades, they made short work of the coyotes, leaving bones and little else. Let's make it a little more hardcore. Bloody bones, little else on the rocks. Okay, and of course they're gonna have to try and cook that right away, smoke that right away. But they're gonna wrap that, and they're gonna, I guess, leaves and fronds. Yeah, so they're gonna actually weapons, some of the remaining fronds, the same used to reinforce the roof of the shelter. Amos and Elbrindel made for the tree line, and they may actually have to have another encounter here. We will see. It's not likely, but it is possible. We'll have to let the dice decide that as well. Just doing a quick check. Okay. Nothing there yet. And now that the day is darkening, there's going to be a little bit of a different atmosphere, of course, as well. The sun hanging low in the sky, dusk quickly approaching. Companions found themselves standing before sparse but large trees, looking up space of mysterious forest. And we still don't know much about that. And I doubt very much that our companions are going to venture into such strange territory, particularly given what had happened to Elbrindel, but she still hasn't spoken about within the meta. Okay, so while they're here, we're going to see how successful they are at actually finding the materials that they're looking for. I'm going to have Amos look for, I'll say, common herbs and berries. He is a sailor, not necessarily someone who's familiar with this type of setting, so his expertise may be more limited in this regard. Elbrindel, not only because she's an elf, but because she's a rogue and has spent much more time here in terms of survival, they have better luck with this. So she's going to look for fungi, I mean, of course, common herbs, but also exotic herbs, berries, other helpful materials. So her search is going to be a little more expansive. What I'm going to do is we're going to roll D20 here, and I'm going to quickly consult the stats. Okay, Elbrindel gets a wisdom bonus of +3, and Amos gets a wisdom bonus of 0. And we're going to add their proficiency as well. So bear with me, we're going to do a roll for Amos first, just to see how successful he is. It's going to be 1d20. Alright, you can do it, bud. 7 plus 0. Amos is not particularly successful. Let's reset that and see how well Elbrindel does. Oh, 17 plus 3 plus proficiency. Elbrindel does extremely well. Maybe she should be the protagonist. But let's have a look here. Okay. After about a half hour of frantic foraging, Amos cursed and kicked a nearby point of earth. Unfortunately, strong root was contained, was a strong root was hidden beneath the moss and leaves, catching his toe and causing him to trip and fall unceremoniously. Elbrindel burst out in about... Elbrindel barked out a quick but genuine laugh. Yeah. Aha! The Dreadfire. Actually, let me do something here. He doesn't actually know that yet. It's not a thing. Fearless Amos. Defeated by Simple Root. Slayer of all who come before him. Vested by vested by vegetation. Amos's face reddened as he scrambled to regain his footing. He pointed an accusatory point. Well, I think it's obvious he pointed a finger at Elbrindel, but thought better of attempting rebuttal. He eventually settled for brushing some of the dirt and clay from his clothes. What do you ever heard? Take a little gander over here. Ready. Yeah, any suggestions, anything like that, that's totally cool. Feel free to drop them in there. If not, I'm just going to keep grinding it out, folks. Today I'm wearing my Snake Plissken t-shirt, so I'm in the spirit. Okay, so Elbrindel did very well with her roll, as we all know. And here we go. Stifling what remained of her good humor. With a U. I'm sorry, I'm really used to the American spelling. My recent writing gigs has largely been for American audiences, so it's hard to get back in the habit of putting that U back in. Window produced a large handful of various findings. Very cool. So she was looking for fungi. She was looking for common and uncommon herbs. Also, what's she looking for? Exotic herbs, rather, berries, other helpful materials. I would say with a roll of 21, essentially, she would have all of those things. So, large, fleshy mushrooms, their caps, unsullied by seas or rot. Could be large books. Delicious. She had also found, let's say, common herbs. Now here's the question: do we use real ones? I guess we could for cooking. We use fictional ones. I'm gonna use fictional ones for now. But they're gonna be medicinal. And we're not gonna name them right away, but we'll move towards that eventually. It also found medicinal herbs, various descriptions. Amos thought actually, let's see if he actually knows this or not. We're gonna do another wisdom check on Amos really quickly. Gonna roll that up. Okay, yep. So Amos does recognize, in fact, one of them. Here's, we'll call it bitter leaf, and bitter leaf, a panacea for poison. Panacea for poison. We'll just say that, and infection. As well as great red, blue, and black berries in various stages of ripeness. Yeah, so great find for Elbrindel, and I'll add that to her inventory. We're actually going to do character sheets eventually, and I'm going to post those up. They'll have a full description of their statistics. They'll have a full accounting of their current inventory, but certain things, such as alignment and things of this nature, I may withhold for now, and we may decide that together later, or maybe the events as they play out will decide that. But I'll produce those in advance of our next stream, which is 2 Saturdays from now, and we'll be good to go. So, now that we've had the encounter at the edge of the forest, I'm actually going to roll a percentile dice to see if there is, in fact, an encounter. I don't think the odds are going to be very good, like I said, so we're only going to roll a 1d100, and anything under a 10 will produce an instance, and we'll see what happens there. Okay. So here's hope. Let's hope for both of their sakes that we do not roll under a 10. 49, no problem. So everything goes well. Now that daylight is nearly done for, only half of the sun remaining visible over the endless ocean, over the horizon. So we'll just say over the ocean horizon. Amos, and no need to get super poetic there. Amos and Elbrindel, we'll have more time for that, maybe during their discussion. Amos and Elbrindel returned to their campsite It is their campsite now. I was going to say her campsite, but obviously they're sharing it. On the way back, both the virus and the elf collected driftwood. Both, you know, a little bit of collected driftwood to build a fire with. Regaining their camp, their shelter, and their seats. Elbrindel laid her spoils out and began sorting them meticulously. And this is where conversation can begin. Meanwhile, Amos began setting up tinder and small sticks. Well, tinder is kind of, no, small sticks. And tinder. Beginning. This is a good question. Where are they going to strike their... Well, obviously they have supplies for that. You know, Elbrindel may or may not. Small sticks and tinder. Elbrindel... yeah, she'll say we'll have flint. Well, you know, I'd say that she probably would have flint. Produced flint. And, little time in cultivating small blaze. Right, perfect. Now they have a setting, they have the fire going, they're going to start cooking. Now's the perfect time for their conversation. And we had 3 suggestions put in the live LitRPG group, and of course we're going to have to decide which one is going to come up as a matter of conversation. Maybe more. Depends on how things go. One, 2, or 3. Where's it gonna go? Okay. I think we have to do it this way, strangely enough. It is 3. So, we have... Number 3, are there locals they may meet? How weird or dangerous are they? Well, that's a question that Amos would certainly ask Elbrindel, since she's been here much longer. Those coyotes, the only thing we have to worry about tonight, and of course not only thing to worry about, period, because Elbrindel already confessed to being attacked by a, I guess a formless creature in the meadow. Amos asked as he worked from the fire, moving bits of wood about to bits of wood about. Yeah, that's fine. And are there? That's the question. So we're actually going to build an array for this. This is really getting to the nitty-gritty. So I'm going to say 1. And I think there has to be other, you know, other threats on this island. I don't think that there'd be nothing. So 1, you could say that there are... Oh, yeah. There are other survivors of the shipwreck on the island, mostly hostile, and that's the reason why Elbrindel was alone. That's an interesting concept. That could be interesting to see how that works out. And oh, how's it going, Chris? Well, basically, I don't want to give you an enormous recap, but I will give you the quick and dirty version. So, essentially, not a whole lot. We had, after the slaying of the coyotes, where we left off with, Elbrindel and Amos actually decided that they'd have to treat their wounds. I'll just scroll back up really quickly. They used a gut rot liquor that Elbrindel had spirited away from somewhere, and we'll get to that. It was likely, remaining materials from the shipwreck. She treated some rags with it. They both tied the wounds off. Then they decided that they were going to go back to the tree line. There was an array here. They decided they're going to go back to the tree line for food, herbs, anything of use. They both did so. They harvested the coyotes both for their pelts and their meat on the way there. When they got there, they did some searching. Amos, being extremely pathetic in his role for finding anything, came up empty and actually tripped on a root after he tried to kick it. Having a good laugh, Elbrindel decided that she was going to look for herself. She did extremely well. She came up with some large fleshy mushrooms, some medicinal herbs. Amos actually rolled well and recognized bitterleaf, which is a treatment for poison infection, and some various berries. There was a chance of an encounter there. There was no such encounter. They returned to their campsite. Amos built a fire. Elbrindel is going through her spoils, and that's pretty much it. So now they're having that conversation that we were talking about. The third one won. The third entry went through. So the question is, are those coyotes the only thing we have to worry about tonight? Amos asked. And now we're building an array as to what else might be of worry for this party on the island. And entry 1, there were other survivors of the shipwreck on the island, mostly hostile. Entry 2. Yeah, I appreciate that. I tried my best to make it as concise as possible. Entry 2, yeah, so any suggestions at all, you can go ahead and throw them in there, and I'll throw them into the array. I will say... Yeah, okay. There's a cave in the opposite direction of the shipwreck. And Elbrindel has not ever gone inside due to strange moaning sounds coming from within. So she's always given that a wide berth. 3. I'd like to have probably 4 or 5 entries in this array. What else could there be here that might be of concern? I would say, actually, winged creatures. Large and cunning. That hide in the canopy of the forest and only come out at night. And there's no more than that. We don't know. This is really coming from Elbrindel. She doesn't know anything more than that. She hasn't really dealt with them up close and personal. Again, trying to give them a wide berth, but has noticed them. Yeah, these are the next steps. So basically the question here is, Chris, Amos is asking Elbrindel, are those coyotes the only thing we have to worry about tonight? And since she's been on the island for a longer period of time, she's a little more canny as to what other threats may exist. And so I've just populated a couple of options here. So there's other survivors of the shipwreck, and they're mostly hostile, which explains why Elbrindel is, alone and on her own. We still don't know the story behind that, so that may be sussed as well. And then I've got the other 2 options in the array here as well. But if you have anything for me, feel free to toss it in there. Like I said, I'd like to get at least maybe 4 or 5 in here. 4. Well. We've got winged creatures. We've got a cave with strange denizens lurking within, and other humans or humanoids that are survivors of the shipwreck on the island. Yeah, let's say 4 would be ghosts. Yeah, so uncommon, but stalk the shoreline on particularly cold, chill, damp nights, looking for victims to join them beneath the waves. They're more than willing to pull people Ooh, interesting. 5. Chris got Marauders. Sometimes land at the island. To replenish supplies. And that might even be an angle for... that might even be an angle for Amos, given his background, but we'll see, we'll see. Alright, so that's 5. We're going to roll it up and see how it goes. I'll be lucky number 5 for you there, Chris, who knows. Alright. It's weird how you have to put the... this is like... looks like 5B1, but it is not. 2. A cave in the opposite direction of the ship. Okay, that's kind of scary. Scary. So we'll put that on the radar. Well, there's one thing that I hadn't mentioned yet. But I suppose I shall, despite despite the late hour and our current situation. Obviously not something she really wants to discuss, but it is a threat. Elbrindel said after a long pause. She'll just continue. While exploring the coast of this, the coasts of this island, and by now I've seen almost all of it. It's true, she's scouted most of it. I found a few things to note. Of course, the vessel that brought me here is to the north. Hull broken open, and the spoils spread everywhere. I doubt much remains. That makes sense. And this replied, grabbing another stick to feed the flames. By now, a sizable blaze had been. By now, the blaze was sizable. Fire should be enough. Okay. Yeah, and we'll get to that. So what you're saying is you're sharing this island with at least a couple, at least, we'll say 20 or 30 other poor bastards. Oop. Okay, language alert. Alright. Just gonna take a break there. Thanks, Elbrindel. Yeah, Chris, I mean, I'm working pretty hard on it. Like I said, I'd get it right sooner or later, and I did. Yeah, so we're sharing this island with at least, not 20 or 30 other poor bastards. Elbrindel nodded, pursed her lips, and then continued. Yes, but that number may not be so high. This day, many have perished, some by my own hand, and besides, I've not yet reached the heart of my story. Go on, Amos forward. He stood to unwrap the coyote meat from the coyote meat, and how are we going to cook this? I think we're going to actually put it on a stick, wrapping the lean coyote meat. having lean flesh around girthy stick and placing it above licking tongue. Fire. Yeah, okay. However, 2 hours south, perhaps about an hour's journey at a brisk pace, lies a caveman. It leads downward. To what depths, I do not know. I never dared cross its threshold, hearing all manner of moaning and other unsettling noises coming from the cave at all hours. So, stay the heck away from there. Bottom line, nobody wants to go to that cave, but unfortunately, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes. And that is the confession. So that's confession number 1 wrapped up. The discussion point number 1 sort of wrapped up. Amos shivered, not being a great fan of the undead. Or of anything particularly magical to that. So Amos, superstitious sailor, not a big fan of any of this sort of thing. So just simply hearing that story has unsettled him and unnerved him. He felt a chill go down his spine and involuntarily shuddered, letting his mind a bit loose from its worries. No need to worry over much. I guess, well, actually, over much for comedic effect. Elbrindel included. Noting Amos's white, well, we'll say, notice Amos's increasingly pale countenance. Yeah, he's gone white as a sheet. He's not a big fan of ghosts. Yeah, exactly. The mysterious cave is going to be a thing. So, yeah. So essentially, I don't think they're going to go check that out this evening, but that's on the menu. Alrighty. I think they've had a good conversation here. I don't really want to go too deep into their background right away, and I think they'll just have their meal. Amos shook his head, muttered something about the hells, and focused all of his attention on the sizzling meat. Meanwhile, Elbrindel tossed a small metal cauldron on hot coals, adding some water from a wineskin, a handful of dried herbs, and the mushrooms she had foraged earlier. A bit of that meat in the cauldron, and some aside, of course, for later, would make for a delicious stew. It was suggested. Comma. Elbrindel nodded, and nodded her agreement, and the night wore on. as maintaining their silence. Their thoughts ranging far and wide and eventually within. Alrighty. So this is they're gonna bed down. Obviously, there's not really a romantic angle here at this point. Though there may be or there may not be. It may remain totally platonic. What we're actually going to do now is I'm going to have them bed down, and we're going to have one of them take watch, and then the other one take watch. And we're going to see if we have any encounters that we have to worry about, actually. So, I'll take first watch. Elbrindel. Broke silence. Staring at the dying light of this small, staring at the fire pit, we'll say. Amos yawns. Curtly yawned, shrugged, and grabbed a handful of dry rags to cover himself. He reclined against the wall of soil and was soon snoring loudly. Alright, so Elbrindel's first watch. Let's go. I'm going to scroll up really quickly and we're going to take a look at her stats. Hey. Intelligence, wisdom, 16. Perception. Second now. Perception check. That's a wisdom, so +3 in her proficiency as well. So here we go. She's going to roll a perception check to see how well she can actually see out there. 13 plus her wisdom plus her proficiency is a 17. It's actually very good. Now let's see if there's actually anything for her to spy. So I'm going to make this a little more likely than we saw at the tree line where it's nighttime and it did have a fire. I'm going to say anything under a 20 on this 1d100 is going to spur an encounter of some sort. We'll say 25 actually. And if not, you're smooth sailing. 5. So yes, we're going to have an encounter of some sort, whether it's combat or no. And once again, we get to build the array. So let's do that up. Let's get this going. So about an hour later, with the elven woman feeling the tug of fire, feeling a tug of slumber pulling her down into its depths, but resisting. Elbrindel spied something out of the corner of her eye. Does not have to be combat oriented. It could be banal or just interesting or a role-playing type thing. And it can be combat too, so feel free to throw up some suggestions there if you'd like, and we'll see if we can get those in there. I'll start. 1. Yeah, 1. A human dressed in sailor's garb, a knife clenched in his teeth, trying to move stealthily towards the shelter. Not a good thing. 2. I'd like to have for this one 4 or 5 as well, if I could. And if not, that's fine too. Okay, 2. Let's say barely visible against the overcast, but against the starry night sky. Pair of winged creatures circling above. And that might tie back into what we discussed putting in the array earlier. 3. Ooh, interesting. A squat shape. Low to the ground. But humanoid in outline. Thanks for that, Chris. Much appreciated. Interesting. Yeah, okay. And that could go a lot of directions. I think I'll leave it at 3. Leave it at 3. We'll do a roll and see what happens. Two. A winged creatures. And I'm just actually going to steal that directly. I'm going to cut and paste that. Barely visible against the starry night sky, pair of winged creatures circling above. Yep, okay. Weird. Let's do it that way. Elbrindel grabbed a nearby bow. Squatted low beneath the cover of the lean-to. Knocked an arrow and let fly. She has already got experience with these creatures. They are certainly not friendly, and she's obviously going to also fall for Amos after this happens. So she's going to actually take a complete sneak attack against them, and we're going to do a little roll. Yeah, forgot to mention, Chris, she has a couple. She scavenged a few from the shipwreck, so not a problem that she had a broken bow. She did have another one at the camp. Oh, glinting eyes, 3 of them. That's interesting. I'm going to keep that for. I'm going to keep that for later. That'd probably be a good array choice for a similar situation. But yes, no, she did maintain another bow from the shipwreck. She had a couple items she took from the carcass of the ship. Okay, here we go. We're going to do an attack roll for her. 8. Not good enough. Oh, I mean, it's a total surprise attack. They are flat-footed, but even with her dexterity, unfortunately, the distance was too great, and the arrow narrowly missed. They have to roll to see, though, the attack, and it shouldn't be too hard. Well, they roll a natural 20. They definitely notice. Drawing the attention of the winged creatures. They whirled and began to swoop earthward as Elbrindel shouted for Amos to enable. Now we're going to enter combat proper. I'm going to do some proper initiative rolls here. I'm going to roll for Amos first. This makes sense. He's slow. I don't know if he has a dex mod. I'm just going to quickly check. He does. It's +1. And she's got a +2. But we're going to roll for Elbrindel to see how quick she is. 16 +2. She's very quick. It's like she is the main character. Let's get real, guys. That's really funny, actually. Winged Creature 1. That's a 16. Winged Creature 2. Sorry, that's a 17. And 13. So, Elbrindel, taking the, would have practiced with a practiced hand, Elbrindel managed to loose another arrow towards the incoming creatures before they could close the gap. How did she do there? And 16 is definitely a hit. This time, the arrow struck true and elicited a loud shriek of pain. Somewhat an eerie blend of bird, beast, and woman. From the target. I'm going to say that she's going for number 1 there. And we're going to roll some damage up from that bow. And it's a good, the arrow's shaft jutted from what Elbrindel could now see was a harpy. And the tip having buried itself deep in a feathered leg. Harpy! Who doesn't like harpies? They're cool, man. They're evil. Yeah, Amos the hidden hero, Chris. I could see that being the case. Hopefully, hopefully his rolls improve. We'll see how that goes. Maybe, yeah, he could be dense. Maybe he's just a charmer. Maybe he should take bard levels. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, that's the first bit of the combat. The creature has been hit, damaged. I want to say 3 here. And I'm not strictly, by the way, everybody going by what the D&D or what the Monsters Handbook or any of those materials. I'm just sort of going, I'm sort of rolling with it a bit here because, of course, I want to be able to provide interesting creatures that aren't all necessarily CR 1/4 or challenge rating 1/4 or just typical things of that nature. So we'll be doing a little bit of fudging in this regard. Right, so the harpy. Fear and anger commingling in its eyes. We'll see. Feral eyes, because they are wild beasts. The harpy lashed out with talons, feet, seeking Elbrindel's chest. Yep, here we go. Roll that up. Finding a good damage there. Right on. Thanks, Jess. I appreciate the subscription. You like my little heavy metal dude up there? Great. And we're going to go roll some damage here. There's a glancing blow. A glancing blow. Nope. The talons couldn't quite bite home, breaking lightly over her light armor. Over the leather, protecting her. Yeah, that's better. And digging furrows in it. Okay, so second harpy. The second harpy, as yet unscathed, crashed through the dry canopy of the lean-to, all claws and feathers. Hissing. It's creepy. Alright, here we go. Oh god, no. Natural 20. Yeah. in its rage, it struck Amos with both claws. Drawing a great deal of blood. Amos cursed, beating the beast back from his face, feeling hot. Yeah, feeling his face, feeling it go numb. So that's not good at all. Wow. Amos better get in the game here. Yep. Not going to be able to do that. He's going to disengage. He staggered back away from his foe, wiping the blood from his brow and steadying himself. Man, these guys just can't catch a break. I mean, first it's coyotes, now it's harpies. I mean, my god. Look, what are they gonna do? Bashing or close with little damage, not bad. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Consider that. Okay, right, we'll think about that. Anyway, we're gonna go back to Elbrindel, and she's gonna do her thing here. Failing miserably. Harpy 1. Critical fail. I'm gonna write that in. While Elbrindel tossed down her bow in favor of her blade. Her opponent found itself lodged, entangled in the remnants of the lean-to. Yeah, so it's entangled. That's going to be very good for Elbrindel, but that's the natural one that it rolled. Plus just works for flavor. Second harpy's still focused on Amos. Misses. Meanwhile, Amos saw the second harpy swoop in. Talons swoop in towards his head, ducking and thrusting his sword skyward. Let's see if he actually manages to hit this one. Yep. The tip of the steel found the exposed stomach of his assailant, cutting a deep furrow into the beast's belly. Let's see how much he does here. Yeah, good damage. A grievous wound. One returned. Caused the harpy to fall from flight, crashing into the rough stones of the shore. And actually the harpy will take damage from that. Harpy 2's got 8 damage. Not looking good for them. Alrighty. Elbrindel is going to make her attack against the entangled harpy. She gets 2 rolls, so it's a 6 and then a 15. 15 is a hit. She gets 2 rolls because she has advantage against this beast. Again, we're going to bend the rules a little bit, so don't come quoting the PHP at me, folks. I'm not here for it. Elbrindel stepped in, taking advantage of the struggling of the bound Harpy, delivering a brutal slice to the creature's neck, and she also gets sneak attack, so we're gonna roll for damage. I'm gonna do a little bit of deep dive here real quick. Give me one moment here. Alright, sneak attack. Yep, so we're gonna roll 2d6 here actually. We're going to add her dexterity bonus, so it's not going to be good for this Harpy, I don't think. 2d6 is poor, but with the extra dexterity damage and the damage it's already taken, it is lethal. So, spray, Crimson Spray erupted from the Harpy's torn arteries and covering Elbrindel. Man, she gets the worst of it in gore. Okay, so that's the end of Harpy 1. Harpy 2... Yeah, Harpy 2 is down, took damage from hitting the ground, is no longer capable of flight, but will attempt to stand and then come forward at Amos. Seeing the fate of its companion as it stood, the second Harpy cried out. A high pitched, ear-piercing call. And actually, I think I might use that as its attack, and we're going to make both Elbrindel and Amos pass a Constitution saving throw. So that's just a 1d20 plus their con and efficiency. So we're going to roll for Amos first. Yeah, he's good. And how about Elbrindel? Also good. Neither one of them is disadvantaged by this. Both Amos and Elbrindel were too deep in the throes of battle to be put off by the beast's desperate play. It whirled to flee, turning its back to both of its enemies. Amos driven by wild anger pursued, and he leapt at the Harpy, seeking to plunge his sword through its flesh. Let's see if we can manage it. See if we can manage it. Oh, welcome to the party, Mike. No problem, man. I appreciate you you coming in. As you can see, we actually have the chat up and running this time around, so it's a little bit of an improvement, and we'll seek to improve it as we go a little bit further with this. Anyway, here we go. Amos is coming in for the kill. Let's see if he can make it work. He cannot. He cannot. So So the beast is going to manage to disengage, and we'll see if Elbrindel can make the difference. She will do a double move dash. And eventually, what I'd like to do eventually is have sort of a sketched out battle map to some degree as well. And we'll work on all these things as this channel progresses. Elbrindel, seeing Amos stumble and miss his mark, sprinted at full speed, trying to lodge her own steel into the fleeing monster. I like how they're not letting it go, like they're pure savages. They're ready to kill and get the job done. 18, she's going to sneak attack as well because Amos is still there. That's 1 and a 4 plus her dex, and that is enough. So again, Elbrindel, I'm telling you, should be the main character of this this story. Amos someday he'll get there, but this is all Elbrindel all the time. Let me just get that music up and running, guys. I know that Mike complimented the certain death, and we're going to throw that up again. And find the information for the music in the stream's description, and a whole lot more metal there. So if you're interested, make sure you do that. Right, Elbrindel is more successful than her pirate companion. Splitting the edge of her blade between the harpies. Distended rib cage. Ribs. With a noise that seemed a monstrous mixture of a human sigh and a bird-like coo, the harpy collapsed, dead at their feet. And cue the Final Fantasy VII victory music. Dun, 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 dun. And that's going to be level 2 for both Amos and Elbrindel once they get their rest here. So we're not gonna go there. I'm gonna just talk a little bit about that now before we clue it up. The end of the combat seems like a good place to wrap this session up. But they are both going to gain a level. Actually, Amos will gain a level. I believe Elbrindel is already level 2. But Amos will join her. That may be part of the reason why he's not having so much luck as her. Amos will get action surge, so essentially he'll be able to act a little bit more frequently with this level, so that's going to help him immensely. By the next session, we're going to have some basic character sheets that I'm going to show off to you guys at the beginning of the session, so you have a little bit more of a frame of reference. And of course, with LitRPG, part of the whole deal is stats, so it's extremely important that we incorporate them slowly. But again, I don't want to overwhelm people with them. I really truly believe that it's more important to tell the story first and worry about the stats second. I think any good DM would probably agree with me on that. And well, at least most good DMs. I don't want to pigeonhole all DMs or speak for them all. But that's it. So I appreciate everybody showing up today, and Chris, thanks for coming out. Mike, thanks for coming out. Jessica was there and subscribed. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have, thank you very much. I won't tell you to click the bell or whatever. I don't even know if that's there, but that's what all the fancy YouTubers say nowadays. Again, if you enjoy the music or the tunes, make sure to check out the link in the description. And if you have any suggestions for how things are going, or if you have any ideas, just let me know. I mean, I'm really amenable to any ideas. Appreciate that, Mike. And Dave, I see. Thanks for stopping by, Dave. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments, concerns, suggestions, or anything like that, leave them for me. Message me with them. Shoot me a message in the group. I'm always open and receptive to these sorts of things. Again, I want this to be fun and positive for everybody involved, so that's my main goal. It's meant to be sort of a fun little writing exercise and a storytelling exercise, and we all get a hand in that. And it reminds me of back in the day when me and my family would sit around the campfire and we'd start a story and we'd go so long, and then we'd pass it off to each other and then continue the story. And boy, there were a lot of laughs to be had and a lot of good memories that were built on that experience. So I really want to share that with all of you and kind of bring it into more of a nerd fashion with this whole LitRPG thing, and hopefully we're doing that, and hopefully everybody's enjoying it. So thank you all very much for attending. It's going to be next Saturday, not next Saturday, sorry, 2 Saturdays from today, around the same time, around 1 p.m. Newfoundland time or 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. But yeah, and in the group, we're going to have a little bit more fun. I plan to have a few more prompts in the group like we've done previously for the discussion topics here. I'm not sure what's going to happen in that cave. Amos and Elbrindel will almost certainly be headed to that cave. You can't just bring that up and not explore it. So I'm really excited to see what lurks within, and of course you guys and myself will all have a hand and the dice of fate in determining what that is. So thanks again, and we'll clue it up for today, and much appreciated as always, folks. Thanks for your support, and thanks for joining me.